Hello, my friends. It looks like Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be a little spicy. We've got some news, and poor Rockstar, poor Rockstar, looks like it is infected with the woke mind virus, which is really unfortunate, but let's check it out, see what's going on. Let's do it.
Hey everyone, it's Endymion, and today I have a scoop for you. So, obviously, we all know what Grand Theft Auto 6 is.
Yes.
We know it's coming in 2025, and there's an insane amount of hype behind it for good reason.
Yes.
I have now been given so much information about Rockstar that it is borderline ridiculous here. I do want to say that who I worked with when making this as well. So, my partner in crime here is a man who has an insane knack for information gathering.
Wow.
His name is Francesco Solbeck.
Oh boy.
His Twitter handle is some guy on phone, which you can see on screen here. Yeah, his profile picture's a little goofy, but he's a good guy.
Sure.
So please give him a follow since he was instrumental to this video coming together, and if anyone has any information on GTA, Rockstar, or any other game, Francesco can relay with you and get that information sorted in a very good manner. I trust him, and so should you. So shout out to him, thanks again, and let's now get into this info that he's helped me gather. So the big reason is because a lot of people are wondering what is going on with GTA 6, and specifically, has Rockstar gone woke?
Oh gosh.
To be real with you guys, the short answer is yes. The long answer is it's a lot worse than you think. Let me explain. Firstly, we need to explain how things are going down at Rockstar currently and before. 3 of the Rockstar greats left the company ranging between 2020 to 2021. These guys' names are Dan Houser, Laszlo Jones, and Michael Unsworth. These guys were all instrumental in making literally everything that Rockstar has pretty much made up until now. Wow. Dan Houser left Rockstar, which was weird because he founded the company with his brother. And then he went off and made another game studio, and then Laszlo and Michael then left Rockstar and joined him too. But why would they all leave? Well, friends, I have your answers, and you're not going to like it. Tell me, do you know what DIB stands for? DEI, of course, is well known, but we have now another term that we have to add to the list.
What is that?
DIB, or Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging, is something that has ravaged through Rockstar like a tornado in the past few years.
What the heck? Inclusion? What was it? Diversity, inclusion, and belonging? What the? Why do they always have to like make up words just to like play more of the victim card here? Like, this is ridiculous. And whatever this is, whatever iteration this is of DEI, it's not gonna last. And I think it's leaving the gaming industry, but it's gonna take a lot longer than the rest of the country, I think. So why that is, I do not know. They just have their head up their butt, and they just refuse to face reality that their customer base doesn't like this stuff, you know? Oh, boy. Okay, here we go.
So we're going to start with Stacy Gordon, who according to LinkedIn, by the way, don't harass anyone in this video. Just let me show you things and then we can discuss it.
Yes.
But Stacy Gordon is a self-proclaimed unapologetic evangelist for inclusion. That's her words, not mine. Stacy is also a voice in gender equity, a keynote speaker, and pushes programs that, for lack of a better word, are these mind virus courses that are designed to rewrite the critical thinking pathways of game developers' minds into understanding that they are actually racist and must atone for their sins.
Because they're white, a lot of them, and they're privileged. I had to go through one of these type of training events, you could say, at my old job. And it was absolutely horrendous. I mean, it took everything I had not to just roll my eyes the whole time like we were doing it. And not to say anything to, at the time, would probably have gotten me fired. So, but man, it was just brutal. The stuff they're trying to push down, and they're just trying to guilt everybody to think that way, you know? And look, I'm white. Who cares? Someone is black. Who cares? Puerto Rican. Who cares? Chinese. Who cares? Nobody cares. Like, if you're going into the game industry or any industry, you just have to have the skill set to do the job. That's what anybody really cares about. All this DEI stuff is garbage.
Stacy states here, privilege is hard to talk about, yet it's as pervasive and important as oxygen.
Oh gosh, the hyperbolic nature of these people. Everything is life and death. Ugh, jeez. This person is a true grifter, and she's getting probably paid very well to be a keynote speaker globally, whatever that means. I don't know if she actually does go around the globe, but she's ripping these people off. Just plain and simple. She's a grifter, and she should be ashamed of herself. Man.
It's like bias. Everyone has some type of privilege, just as everyone carries some type of bias.
Except for her, because she's a woman, first and foremost, and she appears to be black, so that would be the second huge reason. Because, yeah, that's the way it goes. Let's be racist now to white people. Awesome. That's really pushing freedom forward. Jeez.
So why is it so hard to talk about? Why do people, particularly white people, get defensive about privilege? And how can we use the privileges we have to advocate for people who don't have the same access?
Well, she obviously has access. This is such such BS. It physically makes me ill with these type of people.
She then shows her podcast called Inclusionomics, yes, that's a real name, about how everyone who is white is racist no matter what. But let's keep going because it gets worse. Stacey Gordon also hosts sessions talking about microaggressions and how black people specifically are disenfranchised and must be lifted up to become more powerful, specifically in the gaming industry.
It's always a victim. Victim, victim, victim. I have no power. I'm being oppressed. No, you're not, because you're actually there speaking to everybody, putting them down, and calling them racist. So who has the power in this situation?
This then brings me to the big root of the cancer that is killing Rockstar right now, which is something called unconscious bias.
Yep.
We understand that this is a term that means you are biased without knowing it, but it turns out this DEI stranglehold has actually gripped Rockstar for years now and is choking the entire studio to death.
Yeah, you know, as a slight tangent, I just watched a documentary about this case of this girl that got kidnapped in California. It was a few years ago, back in like 2015. Anyways, the boyfriend comes in. Long story short, the boyfriend comes into the police. The police immediately think he's the guy that did this because his story was just like, when you hear it, you're just like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude, you totally killed her. And they're trying to get her. And then all of a sudden, because he's like, hey, she's been kidnapped. And they're like, BS, you killed her. Then a reporter receives a text with like a voice audio clip attached to it. And she's just talking and saying she's been kidnapped, but she's fine. Anyways, she ends up being released by the kidnappers. She comes back, and now the police are blaming her for saying that she made the whole thing up. And because like the year before that movie Gone Girl came out, and it was like almost exactly the same scenario. It was crazy. So they're thinking that she did it, and they just put this couple through hell. Anyways, the police had this exact bias, is the point I'm getting to. They couldn't see the truth, even though there was a ton of evidence that was pointing them to look for the kidnappers, but they just refused to do it because they thought she and the boyfriend were in on it. And it was horrible. But in the end, they finally found the guy. They got their retribution and sued the crap out of the police station and got millions of dollars. So it was a happy ending for them, and they have a wonderful family now and 2 kids. Anyways, the point is that this bias can creep in and you don't even know it, and that's so scary.
This unconscious bias, by the way, is not just some random thing, but what Francesco was able to discover was that it was actually a mandatory course that was pushed onto employees of Rockstar,
Yep.
which
that was exactly the first year At my job, it was mandatory. You had to go to that brainwash session. After that, it was they had it, but we didn't have to go to it. So that was good because I wasn't going to.
Ones you may be asking. You can probably guess it, but it was exclusively pretty much only white employees who work at Rockstar right now that were put through this course.
Yep.
As seen here on LinkedIn, connecting Rockstar's LinkedIn account to this Stacy Gordon's unconscious bias tag here, it immediately pings 60 members of Rockstar Games. Francesco was able to go through these, and based on what he found, of the 60 employees forced to take this unconscious bias course in order to gain a certificate, around 58 of them were white people. The other 2 of these 60 people were of Asian descent, but this course was being pushed onto Rockstar employees coincidentally around the same time that Dan Houser, Laszlo Jones, and Michael Unsworth left Rockstar back in 2020 to 2021, which coincides with when a lot of the DEI woke ESG money was entering the game industry at an alarming rate.
And that ESG money is, I think the tide has turned on that, and that's not going to be happening anymore, at least to the extent that it was happening at this period of time. And that money really just killed so many studios, so many, and ruined the gaming industry in the Western Hemisphere.
Effectively meaning that right now, as it stands, Rockstar is completely infected with woke pandering DEI initiatives that have ran through a whole swath of white employees almost exclusively into admitting, submitting, then receiving a certificate to confirm their own unconscious racist bias according to these woke grifters who are infesting Rockstar right now.
What? They had to sign a document or some type of form saying that they were basically racist and they had bias? That has to be like illegal. That is like when someone gets kidnapped and like by a terrorist group and they put him in the front of the camera and they have to read a statement saying how wonderful these terrorists are or whatever, you know what I mean? Oh my gosh. I think I would have to just be like, F you. F you, I am not signing this because I am not racist. This is garbage. Oh my gosh, this mind virus is unbelievable.
At insane rates. One of these white employees is Michael P., an associate art director at Rockstar Games. He's been with the company for well over 20 years at this point, as you can see on screen right here. And to prove that he's been thrown through this DEI initiative, we can also see here that Michael P. had the unconscious bias training certification given to him after completing the course.
Oh my god.
And we also have a time frame which says July 2022. Again, just over a year or less before all the former heads of Rockstar evacuated the company amidst this DEI takeover. Another employee here named Heather, who is also a senior employee at Rockstar and of course is a white person also, has...
Yeah, and how much is she getting paid? These companies spend like, you know, I don't know, sometimes millions of dollars on these diversity inclusion centers and everybody that they're, you know, like, you know, it's like the HR, head of HR, but it's for DEI, you know what I mean? And they spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars over the course of who knows how many years for they're just dumping their money right down the toilet because this is a totally fake and undeserved title and position that this lady and that other lady has. Oh, they're grifters. Oh my, this is really making me mad. I've done a lot of Endymion videos because I love his content. Oh, this is burning me up. Oh gosh.
Has the unconscious bias certification listed on their LinkedIn as well. What's crazy is we are actually able to find and access the unconscious bias learning program and then look into it, discovering that yes, Stacy Gordon is the person behind this program, but it gets worse. As I scroll down, you can see how this course is designed to shame you into compliance. The most alarming and worst part was finding out that as of the making of this video, that 445,948 people have taken and completed this course.
Oh,
you heard that
gosh.
Right. Now, this number is not just games, I would assume, but all kinds of industries, which is great for Stacy, because then the course allows her to shill her product to every corner of the modern working world.
Man, she has got to be just raking in the dough off of these suckers. Gosh.
How can we consciously address bias as we move through our workplaces and lives? While there is a clamor for action, action without awareness leads to inauthentic and performative behavior.
This is straight up propaganda. And I'm going to say, just like, starts with an end, rhymes with Yahtzee. I don't want to get dinged by YouTube, but this is straight up propaganda. Those people would be very proud of her for, oh my gosh, this woman is evil. Okay. She's straight up evil.
That repeats the cycle of systemic inequality.
Oh gosh.
In order to be aware of when we are acting from an unconscious bias, we need to be able to identify when they're happening. Instead of this causing you to stress or feeling hopeless, I invite you to embrace the complexity of being human.
No,
My name is Stacey Gordon. I'm an executive advisor to senior leaders in the field of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging.
Grifter.
I spent years working in Fortune 500 companies and nonprofit organizations specializing in diversity and inclusion.
Oh gosh.
And today, I hope to bring awareness to the topic of unconscious bias. In this course, we're going to talk about unconscious bias and the impact it has on business. You'll be introduced to some common types of biases that have a large impact in our workplace processes and environments. So you'll now begin to notice the effects of bias in your workplace, in your schools, and in your communities.
Oh gosh.
This awareness is what is needed to begin to make the necessary changes in our behavior. And throughout this course, I'm going to ask you several questions. I recommend you write down your thoughts as we go. So grab a notebook or a writing tablet and let's get started.
How does it feel to...
I only have one thing. I just need my one finger to do it, to say what I feel about you, lady.
I've lived long enough to see all of your favorite franchises go down in flames.
Feels great.
But if you were to just take Rockstar as a size and quantify how many people have been brainwashed into taking this course to renounce their skin color, gender, or whatever else, in the name of woke absolution, this course equates to around 222 full Rockstar teams worth of people that have opened their minds to this program. These are the sorts of things that are ruining video games, friends, but there's more. As you can see here, we also have the DIB course of Diversity, Inclusion, and Belonging, and lo and behold, over 1,125,843 people as of the making of this video have been forced through this test, which is a staggering amount of professionals being filtered through DEI programs by their companies to renounce either their whiteness, their advantages, or biases in the name of the agenda. I mean, just listen to the official description of the unconscious bias agenda, and I quote, "We're all biased, our experiences shape who we are, and our race, ethnicity, gender, height, weight, sexual orientation, place of birth, and other factors impact the lens with which we view the world. In this course, diversity expert Stacey Gordon helps you recognize and acknowledge your own biases so that you can identify them when making decisions and prevent yourself from making calls based on a biased viewpoint. Stacey Gordon explains some of the most common forms that a bias takes: affinity bias, halo bias, perception bias, and confirmation bias. She helps you recognize the negative effects of bias within your organization, as well as the benefits to be realized by uncovering bias in decision-making processes. Finally, she outlines strategies for overcoming personal and organizational bias." End quote. We're going to circle back to this whole unconscious bias thing in a second, but we also got to delve into some other things as well. Another thing Francesca was able to decipher was that Rockstar has had a staggering amount of employees join them in the last 2 years. But the weird part about a lot of this is that a vast majority of these new hires are coming from a very specific studio in question, that being Behavior Interactive. In case you don't know, Behavior Interactive is a studio that was responsible for games like Dead by Daylight, The Casting of Frank Stone, Meet Your Maker, and even worked on other projects such as Mortal Kombat 1, Immortals of Avium, Gears 5, Rainbow Six Extraction, Borderlands the pre-sequel, Call of Duty Vanguard, and many more. In case you don't know, also Behavior Interactive is home to DEI agenda pushes like the Wheel of Privilege 2. They are also originally located in Montreal in Canada, the same exact city that Sweet Baby Inc. operates out of.
Of course.
Just letting you know. But when it comes to the
Gosh.
Wheel of Privilege thing, we have this Fandom Pulse article here where a woman named Sylvia Duckworth, which I covered in a video recently, made this wheel that details people's privileges
I've
based
seen
on
that.
who or what they are. And fellow YouTuber Smash JT found recently too that this Sylvia Duckworth has published books praising
Oh,
black people
gosh.
specifically, and has even made books pushing trans stuff onto children
Oh,
through picture books.
Gosh.
All of this is funded and created by Behavior Interactive,
Ugh.
which, like their name suggests, things are made to force behaviors
Right.
into games themselves and more.
That's right.
And many of the games that I showed that they are a part of have characters where women are favored, like Gears of War 5,
Of
or
course.
games that desexualize characters like Mortal Kombat 1, specifically the females. So now that you know who and what behavior stands for, let's circle back to Rockstar. Like I said, many people from that studio are now working at Rockstar coincidentally around the same time Dan Houser and the rest left the company in the past few years. One of these people is Wendy Enriquez Donasaint, who is a director of talent acquisition at Rockstar Games currently. Wendy confirms on LinkedIn here where it says Wendy Enriquez Donasaint is the Director of Human Resources and Talent Acquisition at Bethesda Game Studios. Wendy has over 15 years of experience in human resources and talent acquisition. Wendy started their career as a recruiter at Behavior Interactive in 2005. And now, as we know, she has now moved on to Rockstar, becoming the head of hiring for that company. As you can see here, she's been at Rockstar for almost 2 years now, again, coincidentally, around the same time Dan Houser and such leave. She then becomes head of talent acquisition. Isn't that weird to anyone else that all of these people, these initiatives, these programs, certificates, all of it immediately enters Rockstar as soon as the original people leave? Well, maybe this Wendy person isn't tied to DEI, even though she comes from Behavior and is working at Rockstar.
Yeah, how could she
Well,
not?
we were able to also find out that Wendy's sister here, Ingrid Enriquez Donasaint, has published books about representation and inclusivity as well.
Gosh.
Ingrid, like I said, who is the sister of Rockstar's talent acquisitions director, even calls herself a grand strategist and ethnographer, which I looked into it in case you don't know what an ethnographer
What?
is, as Google puts it. An ethnographer is a person who studies and records the culture and ways of life of a particular group or society.
That has to be a made-up word. I mean, come on. Really?
Use a combination of emic, insider, and etic, outsider approaches to describe the cultures they study.
Oh,
Ethnographers use a research method called ethnography, which involves observing and interacting with people in their natural settings. They immerse themselves in the social group they are studying for months or even years, observing their behavior. There's
Isn't that called sociology? Pretty sure.
that word again. Listening to their conversations and participating in those conversations. But surely there's no connection, right? I mean, the Rockstar talent acquisition lady's sister wrote a book, so what? Well, there's more. Here's Ingrid
course.
Enriquez Donasaint, where she would write things for Tamtam, which is like some other thing that's to do with DEI stuff, but anyway, which would focus on exclusively representation and stereotypes. These sisters who are attached to Rockstar are all about diversity, equity, and inclusion. It also doesn't help with this excerpt written by Ingrid, which reads, "Be aware of blind spots or be humble enough to discover those you didn't know were there. Build alliances with experts and consumers with soft spots different from yours, ethnography. To enrich your lens, but also to give you substance to craft relatable stories to other people and not just the same old two white folks."
Wow.
So the person in charge of who gets hired at Rockstar that worked at Behavior has a sister who is an ethnographer that writes books and theses about how we must deconstruct whiteness in the world, but it gets worse, so let's keep going. Remember how I said a lot of people from Behavior suddenly joined Rockstar? Here's a software engineer named Kelly who now works at Rockstar. Look at where they're from, it's Behavior, of course. And they have also retweeted stuff like donations for racial injustice and equality. Oh boy, isn't that just wonderful? Sometimes the
Wow.
talent acquisition people below Wendy, they don't even hide their agenda, like Apurva Sharma here, who works in talent acquisition at Rockstar,
Apurva?
and literally has DEI advocate on her public LinkedIn profile.
Gosh.
Apurva's LinkedIn states in her own words, "I am a talent acquisition professional specializing in technical game development roles at Rockstar Games. I believe in delivering a positive and transparent interview experience that celebrates candidates' diversity and fosters an inclusive environment. I am passionate about connecting talented individuals to their dream roles that fulfill, challenge, and value them. And they're open about DEI and advocating for inclusive environments, which is technical speak for we don't want white people here, only diverse people going forward.
Yep.
Then, of course, we have Alicia Powers-Lee, a senior talent acquisition specialist at Rockstar, who has said publicly that she wants all Trump supporters to drop dead, as you can see right here. Very inclusive of you, Alicia, to want the majority of America to just be wiped off the face of the earth, because
that is sick. That a statement like that. I don't know. I don't want people fired, but man, you would think maybe she would get seriously reprimanded for such a sickening statement. Man, these people are just like rotten. They're rotten through and through. You know what I'm saying? They've got brain rot with all this DEI garbage. I get stuck in this echo chamber. So many of them are stuck in this echo chamber, and those people just can't see what is happening. They're detached from reality. You know what I mean? Let's keep going.
You don't agree with them politically. Another talent acquisition person is Shannon here.
Gosh.
It's weird that they're all women in this department too.
Yep.
Are you noticing that as well?
Yep.
Also, who has worked at Epic Games before and has openly admitted that she also pushes for DEI in gaming as seen here, because of course she does. Diana here, who also works at Rockstar, also openly admits in her LinkedIn that she advocates for DEI and even cites DEI implementation to be one of her core skills that is a part of her skill set. Then we have Tim, who works at Rockstar. And what do you think he specializes in? Of course, it's DEI as well. Tim says in his own words where he used to work, I organized key employee events and drove diversity and inclusion efforts as a DEI leader. So this guy's entire job and skill set at Rockstar is to ensure places are more diverse and inclusive. And all of these people are in charge of Rockstar's culture and hiring, by the way. Then, of course, you have Max here, who also works at Rockstar, who's only been there for about 2 months as of the making of this video.
Yeah.
Max has also made it clear on her position with Gamergate 2, where she reposted another person which says, it's upsetting that many of my closest friends on this platform have stopped posting as women because of the harassment stemming from Gamergate 2.0.
What?
They've shared experiences of being called diversity hires, being told they're only hired for their appearance and as eye candy, and even having doctored media created with their faces on offensive and inappropriate content.
What?
I mean, it's not wrong to call people diversity hires, especially at Rockstar. This video alone has shown that there is an overwhelming amount of agenda that is pushing and happening at Rockstar right now. As for being called eye candy, I mean, I guess beauty is in the eye of the beholder, but it's very obvious people are being hired based on race and gender at Rockstar. That cannot be denied.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get a job there. I'm too white. Too white for Rockstar.
Then, of course, there's one of the more senior people in this video named Vivi Langdon, who has also publicly stated that they hate people who don't agree with trans identity or anything like that. This Vivi has also worked at Rockstar for almost 10 years so far as a senior tools programmer.
Wow.
Vivi has also made it apparent that Twitter back in 2019 apparently doesn't care about trans people, which I don't know, Vivi, because in 2019 you would get banned instantly on Twitter or really anywhere else if you said anything about anyone who is trans. Even more so if it was 2020 or 2021. So I don't really agree with you on that one, all things considered, but Vivi is obviously someone who is pro-censorship, of course, too. Because here's Vivi advocating for people to report another user on Twitter for not validating their gender identity. Great. Totally rational behavior there. Another Rockstar employee whose name is Emily said via Twitter that they're glad Rockstar removed any negative depictions of trans people from GTA 5 when they released the enhanced edition of the game. In case you didn't know, Rockstar went back and removed any and all traces of what was considered transphobic from GTA for PS5, Series X, and such. As you can see here in this The Gamer article, this was all patched out from jokes, character models, and interactions with what was considered not socially acceptable by the standards of today. Notice also that this was released and patched in 2022, specifically around the exact same time all of these talent acquisition employees get hired from places like Behavior Interactive. And within the same time frame that many white developers were being strong-armed into taking unconscious bias courses to renounce their whiteness or privileges in the name of wokeness. So GTA 5 went from being a game that's a part of a series that satirizes and makes fun of everyone to suddenly not being allowed anymore to make jokes about certain individuals the moment that Dan Houser and his top talent leave Rockstar, and then the entire studio gets gripped from the top to bottom by DEI initiatives.
Jeez.
Funny how that works, yet they'll still tell you that I'm just crazy for noticing these things. By the way, this was pushed to Rockstar by an LGBTQ+ gaming industry advocacy group called Out Making Games that demanded that Rockstar remove any mention of
Wow.
transphobia from the game in 2022, right around the time when Dan Houser left as well. And by the way, that Emily Evans lady who worked at Rockstar and celebrated when the company removed the so-called trans content, oh, would you look at that, under her licenses and certifications, she has the unconscious bias course in her LinkedIn because of course she does.
Of
I mean,
course.
she's a white person after all. Here's
And
another
she's a
developer
woman.
named Flavio who also works at Rockstar.
Oh, gosh.
And there it is again, unconscious bias course certification because he's a white game developer. I wish I was kidding, but this is really happening.
I mean, obviously, I think a lot of these guys that are white that work for Rockstar have to go through this program. I would hope that most of them are just doing it just to keep their job. You know what I mean? I don't know if I could do it. I don't think I could. Oh man, I don't know. It would suck to get fired just because you don't go and do and say that I'm a racist. That's unconscionable. That's just, This is straight up evil, guys. Just, I don't know what to say.
If you're not willing to play by their rules, they will just simply crush you with demands until you
Yep.
submit.
Yep.
There's also Austin Ruda, a senior production coordinator at Rockstar who also, big surprise like many others, used to work at Behavior Interactive. This dev via Blue Sky says that he hates Gamergate people too, not seeing garbage sponsored posts from grifters, rage baiters, and right-wing stooges every other post is so nice, man. WTF, pure bliss. So there's a lot of liberal, pro-DEI, pro-censorship people at Rockstar right now. Yep, sorry to break it to you all, guys. Here's Austin retweeting things too with all the usual stuff you think these people do as well. Then the final person here is named Craig, and he's a weird one that I don't quite understand 100% to be honest. But he's been very vocal for children to be exposed to trans stuff. He also works at Rockstar too. He's a Scottish dev who really hates the
Wow.
SNP or Scottish National Party. He advocates, as you see here, that children should understand how to feel pleasure during intercourse. Yeah, I just feel weird reading
What?
this out loud, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you.
What in the hell? How is this guy like working anywhere? This is sick. This has to be a violation of some sort.
And here's Craig yelling at the Scottish National Party saying children don't need mothers and fathers again. Super weird that this guy has such a fixation on children and stuff. He also calls the
Yeah.
government homophobic here, and then just starts posting a bunch of trans and rainbow flags whenever parties within Scotland want to push for traditional family values and such. And then the Scottish Party shares a video to show how families make babies, I
What?
guess. And Craig doesn't like this because I guess they're pushing heterosexual relations, I suppose.
Oh my gosh.
It's super weird, dude. I don't know what to make of this guy specifically, to be real with you. But as you can see from all the info presented here, that Rockstar is definitely more than knee-deep in DEI initiatives right now across the entire company.
This game is going to tank so bad, which is, I mean, it's still going to make money because it's GTA. But I predict that it's not going to make anywhere near what their projections were for this game. Because as soon as everybody starts seeing all this DEI garbage that's going to obviously be in the game, people are going to just reject it. They're going to reject it, just like Veilguard. So that's sad. Everyone was waiting for this game. It should have been like one of the greatest games ever made, but I think that ship has sailed, and it's a sad state.
They are full of activists who are pushing DEI, wokeness, weird kid family stuff, and hiring people in droves from companies that also push the same sort of ideologies. The unconscious bias thing was a big part of the scoop because whenever people claim that white devs specifically are not being targeted or forced to comply to the beliefs or whims of others, I mean, it's just simply not true. White developers are absolutely getting strangled by this industry to comply to these insane demands. As I'm told by some sources too, since I might as well add it here while I'm making this, GTA 6's story should mostly be kept intact from when Dan Houser and such wrote it like they did every other GTA game in Red Dead story. But this doesn't mean things couldn't be changed, of course, and I would mostly worry about the post-launch future of GTA 6 than anything else. Side content will likely be sanitized as well too. Expect no trans jokes or anything, but plenty of jokes about white people instead, because that's totally fine to do, of course. If GTA 6 somehow doesn't hit the landing and it just ends up pissing off the fans, we could be looking at one expensive disaster on our hands.
Yes.
I do think it will still sell well. I mean, it is GTA, but I'm just letting you guys know, okay? But there is one truth here that I want you to take away from all of this. GTA 6 is absolutely 100% infected and hijacked by dozens of activists. And we'll only see just how far this goes once more about the game comes out. But what do you think about all of this? Will you still be buying GTA 6? Is any of this concerning to you? What about the unconscious bias thing for white devs? Is that a good thing or not? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Thanks again to Francesco. Make sure to follow him and have a wonderful day. And I'll see you in the next one.
Oh, man, that was hard to get through, to be honest. Wow. Oh, my gosh. Rockstar, what have you done? Oh, I don't even know how that could be fixed. You know, these people are just like, it's a cancer. It really is. It's a cancer that just spreads. Ugh. Anyways. Okay. That was, it is what it is. I don't know. Indibian is great, and I love his content. And if you enjoy my reactions to this video and others like it, please consider subscribing. And also, not subscribe again, but, you know, leave your comments. I do enjoy hearing from you, and I try to get back to you, you know, as many as I can. So that'd be great. Also, just saying, we do have some merch. So, yeah, that's a thing. If you want to, you know, get a shirt or a mug or something, that'd be great. Help support the channel and help me keep on bringing this to you. All right. Well, you guys have a great day and stay safe. And until the next video, check you later. Bye.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear.